Hello friends and loved ones, and yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. Earlier this month, I talked about a fishing video game that took artistic inspiration from Persona 5. So today, I'm here to talk about the top 5 fish in Persona. It made sense to me at the time. Look, back when Persona 5 X was first announced, I did a video on the top 5 phones in the series, and I've been wanting to do more of these pointless Persona picks lists. So the time is right, and I'm looking at fish, okay? Fish often play a bigger role in the series than we realize. There are aquariums that you can visit to go look at fish. Many of the more recent Persona games featured fishing mechanics. Heck, I'm still surprised that Reload didn't add fishing, especially with how much of the new interface seems to emphasize water. And Persona 5 X even has a playable character known as the Fishing God. But today, I want to focus on the uniqueness of the fish themselves. I really only have 2 rules for this list. Number 1 is that I'm only including things that I actually consider to be from Persona. So like Fornius being based on a fish, despite debuting in other Megaten games, doesn't count. And the only other rule is that the fish still needs to be relatively fish-shaped. In other words, once it's been cut up and turned into sushi, it's no longer allowed. Though, let's be honest, I could totally do a top 5 sushi in Persona list too. If you like what I do, please consider commenting, subscribing, maybe even checking out the Patreon, it helps a lot. Alright, let's get started. Look, I'm going to lay my cards on the table now and tell you that a lot of these are going to be from Persona 4. I was a bit surprised too, but hey, that was a game that managed to do some cool stuff with fish. In order to complete the Fox's social link, Yu Narukami must complete the final request, I would like to see the Samegawa's Guardian. This task involves fishing up a large, hulking brown fish, literally scarred from battle, and showing it to the old man who teaches you how to fish to begin with. While the Guardian is an impressive fish, it's not actually the star of this spot, at least not in this particular state. Because word spreads fast of your legendary deeds to catch the Guardian, particularly to a Mr. Daidara, who wishes to immortalize your successful endeavor in the form of a... what would you call this, a shield? Slab? Plate? I'm gonna go with commemorative plate. Whatever it is, you can get it by handing over the fish to the town blacksmith who gives you this powerful weapon for Kanji Tatsumi. The fish itself is certainly impressive, but I think it's even more impressive knowing that you can bludgeon unspeakable monsters to death with it inside a TV. Many people have a hard time going back to the original Persona trilogy for whatever reason, with a common explanation being the lack of social mechanics. While these games don't have designated social links, they expand upon their characters in other ways, one of which being that you can talk to your party members in basically every neutral zone in the game, with their dialogue often changing depending on the current establishment and where you are in the plot. And some of these stories are worth following up on, with one particularly heartwarming one being the blossoming friendship between Ulala Serizawa and a fish in the tank at Gaten Sushi in Persona 2 Eternal Punishment. As you visit this Rengedai establishment throughout the course of the game, Ulala grows fascinated with a particular fish, originally planning to eat it for looking at her funny, but eventually naming it Joe, and caring enough about him to let him know what's going on, and reassuring him that everything is going to be okay. While certain other characters, particularly Baofu, find Ulala and Joe's friendship to be bizarre, real ones get it. Ulala even stops returning Persona 1 character Toro from ordering the fish and having it turned into sushi, which is good because as we established, then Joe would be ineligible for this list. Making our way back to Persona 4, specifically making our way back to the Guardian, we quickly learned that Persona 4 Golden made quite a few changes to the original game. Some of these changes were good things, like adding fun costumes. Others, not so much, like time to make history. One of these changes, though, is that catching the Samegawa Guardian is no longer the end goal for completing the Fox's social link. Now, you have to catch the Shichiri Beach Guardian, which involves fishing at the beach, which you can't even do until you catch the regular Guardian. In the wise words of Liam Neeson, there's always a bigger fish, and it's your job to catch it. Heading to the beach on a rainy day with your ocean fishing gear, the right bait, and enough diligence will allow you to fish up the Sea Guardian, which appears to be some form of enormous saltwater catfish. This thing felt huge, catching it on the Vita way back in 2012, and it's definitely one worth mentioning. Not only will catching the Sea Guardian allow you to complete the Hermit Social Link in Persona 4 Golden, but comes with the Fishing Master Trophy, so that no one can say you didn't do it. Alright, here we go. Here's one that's not Persona 4 related. Akihiko is a playable character in Persona 3, FES, Portable, and Reload, as well as a number of side games, and he even appeared in the anime Persona Trinity Soul. He originally uses the persona Polydeuces, and I am starting to think this has nothing to do with fish. Yep, wrong Akihiko. Alright, let's try this again. In Persona 4 Golden, you Narukami can head out to the shopping district at night, where the Shiroku store transforms into the Shiroku pub. The owner of this establishment, known only as the Shiroku hostess, will chat with you and tell you all about her prized fish, Akihiko. If you have the right bugs on you, he'll excitedly swim about, and you can feed him an insect in exchange for breadcrumbs. Keep doing this, and he'll eventually grow bored with the same old insects, so you have to mix it up. Of course, a healthy diet of a variety of different bugs means that dedicated players will eventually notice Akihiko grow bigger. And bigger. And bigger still, until this oarfish is so big he won't even fit on the screen anymore, attaining a size that puts even the Sea Guardian to shame. While I know he's the hostess's precious little baby boy, I'll admit I do feel a bit sad for him, because clearly, this tank is too small for him to do anything but just float there and eat. Hashtag free Akihiko. And finally, there's no other way to cap off a list of the top 5 fish in Persona than with a persona who is a fish. In the aforementioned anime, Trinity Soul, the antagonistic member of the Maribito, Sotaro Sano, uses Yu Jiang, aka Guukyou, a Chinese sea god generally depicted as a fish with human limbs. In some stories, he's shown as a bird, but the persona design seems to lean slightly toward the fish design, giving it a large fin sticking out from his back. Guukyou is actually one of the most prominently shown enemy personas in the series, and manages to be a pretty big part of some of the bigger, more interesting fight scenes. The green and black Chinese fish god manages to leave a lasting impression, and currently stands out, at least as far as I'm concerned, as the most memorable fish in the Persona series. Now, I've looked at phones and I've looked at fish, but as far as I'm concerned, no topic is off limits. Hats, windows, coffee cups, if you've got any suggestions for pointless Persona picks, let me know in the comments, as I'd love to do more videos like this. Thank you for watching, I hope you had as much fun today watching this as I did making it, and until next time, take care.